think it's live. I think this Hangout on Air is live. Okay. It is live. Welcome to Sound Booth Theater Live, everybody. Thanks for coming. We have 3 requests, as usual, for this Sunday. You know, I kind of like how we're going. Oh, shit. No, stop it. Okay. I kind of like how we're going. We're pretty stably going bi-weekly now. Wait, bi-weekly. Is that twice a week or every 2 weeks? I think it's every 2 weeks. That's what I mean, at least. So I'm glad we're doing that because there have been times where I've like dragged and not done it in a while, maybe 3 weeks. There have been times that I've done too many and kind of like rushed it in and really stressed myself out. But I think this is just about the right amount of SBTL that we're doing in order to keep people interested. So thank you everybody for showing up. Thank you for all the authors and all the people that requested things for today. And oh no, I forgot to pull up all the links to everybody's stuff. 1 second, guys. So first of all, we're gonna start today with Royal Roads, a Royal Roads read. Which, let me look at the poll here. Quod Olim, Quad. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing Latin. Quod Olim Erat, and maybe that's not Latin. Maybe it just looks like it. But I'm gonna screen share here for you so that you can see what I'm looking at. Doo-ka-doo-ka-doo. Okay, so here is Quod Olim Erat. The let me see if Lise Eclaire sent me a synopsis she wants me to read in particular. The stars were home decades ago. Elsie was a battleship until her recklessness brought her out of the front lines into forced retirement in a human body. Now she lives a quiet life on a rural backwater planet, keeping the promise made to her last captain, until one day a letter takes her to the stars once more. That sounds really fucking cool. I didn't look at anything here at anything about this. So already I'm super intrigued. Oh, I got messaged by somebody. Okay. So yeah. It's a pretty decent cover. Let's see what else we got going on. We got our second one is going to be, okay, I listed it as Barrow King, but actually Chris Carney wants to hang out with us, but he needs a little extra time, so we'll leave him for last. We'll do Hack secondly, by Paul Bellow. Now Paul, if I remember right, he started a website. I think it's called the LitRPG forum. Is that it? Let me see. Let me look at our close these up here. You guys don't need to see that. LitRPG forum is what it's called. So yeah, he started that website, and I think he's got this one series. Let me look at his author page. It's a pretty cool cover. Trump Drumpf. Okay. So that doesn't look like LitRPG. Maybe it is. I don't know. But there's 3 books in this series already. Let me read the synopsis here. Eric and friends secretly log on to the new Tower of Gates VR MMORPG against his father's wishes. After spawning separately throughout the game world, they soon discover a dark secret. They also learn player kill is an option, and death means more than a simple respawn. Can they find their way out of the Tower Gates, or will they be trapped in the fully immersive gaming experience? Hack is the first book of the Tower of Gates LitRPG saga, previously published as the first half of Goblin. Extensive, rewritten, and professionally edited. Enjoy. Cool. All right, so this is a re-release, and as possibly a better book than what it was before, presumably. I wouldn't re-release a worse version of a book. But so yeah, Hack is going to be our second request, and then we will be moving on to Barrow King by C.M. Carney. Interesting cover. Little grim. Guy on the cover needs to gain some weight, I think. All right, betrayed by those closest to him, Finn Caldwell thought he'd escaped his life of violence and deception. But when a frantic message from his estranged sister draws him into the realms, the world's most advanced holographic reality game, Finn is forced to embrace his deadly skills once more. Armed with a mysterious artifact known as a godhead, Finn becomes the warrior mage Griff. Yet, things are not as they seem, and to save his sister, he must escape a sentient dungeon by defeating its master, the Barrow King. Number one bestseller in Norse and Viking myth and legend, number one bestseller in role playing and fantasy games. Cool. So yeah, this is I believe Chris has already picked a narrator for this series. I think he's going with Armin Taylor. If you are not familiar with if you are not familiar with Armin Taylor, he narrated the Viridian Gate Online series, and I believe he's doing James Hunter's other lit RPG series, the War God's Mantle. So yeah, he's super legit. The audiobook should be good. All right. So before we get started, I also want to remind you guys that I'm giving out 5 audiobooks today. But I think um I think that we're going to do something a little bit different this time. Instead of having you say something in the chat, let's do this. Um, if you go to the description of this video, you will find the SBTL Facebook group, the Sound Booth Theater Live Facebook group. Go there and post. Oh shit, no. That's not going to work, is it? Because there's going to be a ton of people posting. Here, we'll do it this way. I'm going to make a post right now. I'll make a post. Here's the giveaway thread. The top 5 people to comment with make a comment that makes me believe you were there, that you were here watching, to give me proof you were watching the stream today, gets an audiobook. Oop. Bam. Okay, so I made that thread. Comment there. The top 5 people will get an audiobook. See, because that way I can find you so much easier. Like with if you just comment in the YouTube video and I don't know who you are, then I have to like go searching for you and then give it to you. There's no way to like contact you through YouTube, right? So run and do that. Anyway, moving on. So we're gonna start our first request, which will be okay. I think Lisa Eclaire is in the chat. Hi, Lisa. It works. Quod Olim Erat. What once was. Okay, so it is Latin. It is Latin. Okay, and let's get started on this. All right. Characters: Lightseeker/Elsie, protagonist and narrator, female. Battleship, retired in the body of a scrawny girl in her late teens, early 20s. Currently a fleet cadet candidate. Youthful, almost whispery voice, no accent. Italics indicate thoughts or telepathy. Alicia, it's all females. Female, late teens, early 20s, fleet cadet candidate. Accent by choice. Like I choose an accent, or she chooses her own accent whenever she feels like it. I'm not sure what you mean. Amish, male, mid-30s. Ship adaptation officer. Talks with a hint of boredom. Accent by choice. I think what she's meaning here is I can just do whatever for the accent. Female. Okay, doctor. Female, mid-40s. Academy doctor. Deep/rough voice. Accent by choice again. All right. So she sent me chapter 4. Okay, so I think for Elsie, she says she wants whispery, almost whispery. So Alicia, female, late teens, early 20s. I'm gonna do my Mindy Kaling type of voice for her. Okay, well, I'm ready to get started. So, since none of my None of my other narrator friends are going to hang out. I will do the female voices myself. Okay. Alicia is okay. She's gonna be the squeaky one today. Oh wait, Lisa said. I think she said it's 0100. Oh, Truffle. How can you do this to Lisa? He says, if you get to choose an accent, Glab is a must. Oh boy. That's very tempting Truffle. Maybe I'll do maybe I'll do the doctor in Glab. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. All right, sorry. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop dicking around. Yes. Quod Olim Erat by Lisa Eclaire, starting now. Whispery, whispery. Okay. Hey! Alicia said from the doorway. Hey! I nodded back, placing my sandals on the nightstand. Alicia remained silent. I could feel the awkwardness in the air. You okay with the lower bunk? I like looking at the ceiling. Alicia glanced at the bunk space, then back at me. Sure. She stepped in and went to the free closet. I'm gonna scoot over a little bit. Get this turned a little bit. That sounds better. Okay. 20 minutes ago, she had been among those calling me out for being a ship. Carmel had been the initiator, but Alicia had done everything possible to illustrate her support. I had heard her whisper that she pitied my future roommates. Quite ironic that that roommate turned out to be her. Apparently, station policy dictated that cadets were grouped based on gender and recruitment center. Is it what you expected? I put my data pad in my pocket. Space, I clarified. You told me you were wondering what it'd be like. Oh. She looked away. Yes. I could tell she was lying. Good. So much for trying to get things back to normal. I'll be going through medical. See when I'm done. But we already passed our medical? I sensed a spark of curiosity. My medical. No. My medical. I walked into the corridor. My medical is slightly different. Okay, so there's a voice that blasts in her head. Is this Amesh? I can't tell if this is him or not. He's not introducing himself. I'm going to assume it is him. Can you hear any instructions? A voice blasted in my head. I could make out that it was male, but it sounded somewhat distorted. Everything was black, as if I'd lost all my visual feeds. My immediate reaction was to make my subroutines start a diagnostic. Then I remembered I had no subroutines. All my auxiliary and support systems, my weapons, my external and internal sensors, all my biotech power cores were gone. I was left only with my thoughts. Can you hear any instructions? The voice repeated, louder than before. Yes. I tried to perform a general system check. The fleet medical engineers had been very explicit that what would happen once I acquired a human body. They had even given me feeds of previous cases. Experiencing it personally, however, was different. I wanted to check if they hadn't forgotten something. They hadn't. Can you feel any sensations? A new question entered my head. My senses aren't functional yet. The experience was strange. Neither are my motor functions. Try not to do anything. The voice was much clearer now, as if someone had adjusted the sound filters. We just need to make some minor adjustments. Nothing to worry about. I'm not worried. From what I remembered, there had been only 3 cases of ships not surviving the procedure, all during the time of the early experiments. The details remained classified beyond top secret, but rumors were abundant. You'll start feeling in a few moments. Let us know if it gets too much, okay? I will. The med engineers had gone out of their way to give me weeks of feeds before I had gone through the procedure. Hours upon hours of stimulations showed me that it would be what it would be like to walk, talk, and feel like a human. Of course, those were only simulations. I had no idea what it would be like to feel. When I was a battleship, the sensors throughout my body would send me a constant flow of data informing me of every nanofiber of my hardware, from the outer hull to the super processors. Hundreds of software subsystems would filter, pack, and buffer the data. As a human, I expected it would be dramatically different. The first thing I felt was coolness. It surrounded me on all sides, more prevalent in some spots than others. It reminded me of vacuum, but softer, almost diluted. Anything? The man asked. Some chill and some hardness, both uneven. That's good. You're lying on the slab. Do you feel the fabric? No. Fabric. It had never crossed my mind I'd be able to feel that. You'll get used to it. Just try not to overload yourself. Overload myself? Some ships try to experiment more than they should. It's a whole new ball of wax now. You don't get a dock refit each time you break something. You get one free refit, and that's it. So don't go walking on fire. I'll try to remember that. A feeling of a feeling of softness appeared, almost unnoticeable at first. It quickly grew until I could identify its location on me. I think I feel the fabric. So far, perfect. Ready for the next step? It's a bit strange talking to someone who has no name. I could hear a slight noise in the background, a sort of cross between static and running water. Sorry about that. I'm just the adaptation officer. You'll see your doctors soon. They'll tell you all the important stuff. There was more static. I'm just here to make sure you make it through the door. I'd still like to know your name. This was This was the first time I'd had to ask about someone's identity. Back in my old body, I could send info queries light years away. Amish, the man said. No relation to the general. I'm Elsie. It would have been rude to say that I had no idea who the general was. So far, I had seen the records of several people with the first name Amesh. In the grand scope of things, none of them were significant. Right now, I felt he was, though, the very first person to welcome me to humanity. In a moment, you'll have motor functions, he said. That will be accompanied with increases in sensations. None of them should be unpleasant, but I want you to be prepared. Okay. You've been equipped with auxiliary cores, so you shouldn't have a problem moving your new body. But to be sure, I'd like you to do some tests. I'm still not getting any visuals. That's normal. For the moment, I'd just like you to say something to me. Such as? It doesn't matter. As long as you use your mouth, you'll still keep your transmission channel, but all communication will be through your mouth. Okay? Okay. I spoke for the first time. It felt natural, yet extremely weird. My voice sounded very different from what I expected. I had been given the option to choose it before the procedure, one of the many things I had been allowed if I had bothered to give the procedure any thought. At the time, it seemed like a pointless task. I just wanted to be done with this as soon as possible and fulfill the promise to my captain and her son. As it seemed, I had gotten my wish, though I could have chosen a somewhat more mature voice. Good. Now I'll take your hand. When you feel my skin, I don't want you to do anything, understand? I'll just pull you up. No need to react or assist. I'm a battleship. I doubt you could damage me. I laughed. It felt nice. It's not you I'm worried about. I felt something grab hold of part of me and give me a tug. My body followed naturally. As it did, the sensation of hardness beneath me shifted. A few moments later, I could feel it on two spots in a different part of my body. Gravity has shifted, I noted. Gravity is the same. He let go of me. It's your balance. Your body is used to it, yet you aren't. The doctors will explain all this in a bit.
You keep saying that. A sudden burst of warmth enveloped me, like the radiation of a star. Does this happen a lot?
Does what happen?
You helping ships get through their reboot?
I've seen a few.
His his voice was coming from my right.
Usually up to 3 per year. You're one of the quiet ones.
I'm a battleship, I smirked.
Battleships love to talk.
I heard him sigh.
Okay, now I'll ask you to open your eyes. Remember, don't overreact.
I promise. For some reason, I was feeling anxious. Have there been incidents in the past?
No, but I know how big the change can be.
Amesh went silent. His words made me think. In the past 10 hours, I had shrunk in size 1,000 times, give or take, and gotten an appearance. As a ship, I never cared what I looked like. Every few years, I'd go to the allocated star docks and get retrofitted, sooner if I suffered severe combat damage. As a human, I had no idea what I'd be going through.
Now, open your eyes.
Light and colors hit my mind, almost making me lose balance. It wasn't the amount or intensity, but the focus lag that took me off guard. For seconds, I stared at blurry blobs of shapelessness until a picture gradually took form. White walls, cold lights, beeping sounds. Where am I? I asked. Everything seems familiar,
Sick bay.
Amish replied. He seemed much taller than I expected.
Your sick bay.
It feels weird. I went to the wall and slid my fingers along it.
I can imagine. All your subroutines are intact, so once you're off, they'll refit your husk with a new mind fresh from the farms.
Just like that?
You expected you'll take your husk with you?
He gave me a surprised look. No. I had hoped my former self would be disassembled and destroyed, to be honest. That's what used to happen in the past. Apparently, times had changed the last 5 years. So I just take a walk onto the dockyard? That's it?
Almost.
A video feed covered the entire wall in front of me.
Take a few moments to admire your new self before you go. Almost. Okay, sorry. Just taking a little break here.
Do you feel this? The doctor pressed the tip of the needle into my shoulder. I'm not numb, ma'am. The sensation rushed along my nerves to indicate significant discomfort. I feel pain, just perceive it differently. Only making sure that your alarm bells are still working. The doctor laughed. She had a deep laughter that suited her body, the same as a roar suited a bear. A few decades ago, she must have been all muscle, yet age and high gravity had gradually transformed it into blubber. Have you been having any weird nightmares, fits of rage, anxiety, or panic attacks? I have perfect memory, doctor. Not flashbacks. Good for you. She put a micro scanner on my neck. Stop breathing. I felt something sharp pierce my skin. Okay, now get dressed. Thank you, ma'am. The second examination was much shorter than the initial one on the station, but far less pleasant. Based on what I had read in the consent form, I was required to go through such checks every 6 standard months. Most likely, I could expect each next time to be as uncomfortable as this one. Will that be all, ma'am? I asked as I start putting on my clothes.
Excuse me.
For the moment. The doctor had started filling in her report. Check your schedule. Then tell the corresponding instructors that you'll be ready for attendance. I paused, my shirt half on. Is there something the matter, Cadet Elsie? The doctor raised her gaze. Does that mean I'll be going through basic training, ma'am? I know. It's a pain, but everyone has to go through it. Even I had to. But I'm a battleship, ma'am. The recruitment officer told me that I'd go straight to advanced simulations or early deployment. Did he? She crossed her arms. Isn't life full of nasty surprises? Recruitment has no authority to make any such promises. You go through basic training as everyone else, and that includes standard combat training. If and when your instructors feel you're skilled enough to skip a grade, they'll tell me. Until then, you're just another waste of space. I smiled and finished putting my shirt on. Clearly, I was getting no special treatment. To them, I was just another rookie. The fact that I had decades of combat experience didn't count for anything. An expected turn of events I had hoped to avoid. Have many battleships gone through here, ma'am? I asked, pulling up my trousers. Nope. You are definitely the first. The doctor's face twisted in a smile. And I hope for your sake that you make the cut. All right, that's it. So that was Quod Elim Erat. Quad Olim. Let me, damn it. Where to go? Where to go? Quad Olim Erat. Okay. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. So yeah, thank you to Lisa Eclaire for making that request. That was really fun and a really cool concept. Um, Jeez, what am I doing? Leaving that door open or closed. Um, I'm looking forward to see how it goes. Oh man, all these people are bringing proof. Let's see here. All right, let me look at who we got. Okay, so sorry. So go check it out on Royal Road, guys. Anything that I do as a request on the show, I leave the links in the description in the YouTube video. So if you want to check this one out, it's on Royal Road Legends right now. The link is in the description. And yeah, so thanks so much, Lisa. And if you want to hear how, hopefully next time you request, and if you win in the polls, we can like plan to have one of our female narrators here at Sound Booth Theater do it for you. I did the best I could. Okay, so on to the next request, which let's see here. I did message I messaged Paul Bellow, but I haven't heard back from him about joining us for the stream. So I think it's just going to be CM Carney later on tonight. But let's go on to his. Rogue. I forgot to search for it. Haven. I think he requested a long time ago, so it might be a good idea to just. Oh wait. What's it called again? It is called Hack. Hmm. Paul Bellow, maybe? No results. Tower of Gates. Arg. I'm so dumb, guys. I forgot to look this up before I even started the stream. I don't know why, I just assumed it'd be easy. This happens a lot. Me assuming something's going to be easy and then it totally not being easy. Okay. Do. Because I know he requested this a pretty long time ago.
Mm. Fantasy Royale. What is going on? Maybe if I just look up Danny. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to go as fast as I can. I can't find this thing. Glitch, City Champs, Luckless, Underworld, Codename Freedom. Dude. This must have been requested like a million years ago. I don't see it at all. Shit, guys. Well, I guess I'm just going to buy the book. Oh, wait, it's on Kindle Unlimited. Never mind. Let's do one of these. All right, so I don't know where he wants me to read. I'm just going to start. All right, so where are we at? Where are we at? All right, let's look at how many people have requested audiobooks now. Here's the giveaway thread. We got Michael Polson Deer. So he gets one. Yep. Proof. Don Barnett says, nice chain. I don't think he was requesting an audiobook. He was just complimenting. Okay, cool. We got one for Andrew Admire. Truffle is pretending to watch. I don't know what that means. Does he want? Lisa wants one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bobby BJ says, Jeff looked like he was auditioning for the show To Catch a Predator. Is that proof? Said he was having dinner with Harmon and Luke and they had wings. What does that have to do with anything? We did have wings, okay, and it was really late lunch. We had wings and a giant pizza. Yeah, so it looks like man, I can't remember how to pronounce your name, Mr. Irishman with the kabuki mask. But yeah, you're the last one. So we got 5 requests already done. You guys were quick. So thank you for requesting. I'll send all of you an audiobook code after this. And I suggest you use it on Temple of Sorrow by Carrie Summers. This is Annie Ellicott's second full-length audiobook. And even though she did an amazing job on Gunmeister, she improved so much just from that book to Temple of Sorrow. Like Annie is incredibly talented, and she's gonna be like as good as I am in like a year, I think. It's just insane. So, so yeah, go check that out. If you didn't win an audiobook, I'm sorry, I only have so many, but go check that out anyway. Temple of Sorrow by Carrie Summers. It just came out. I think it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday while I was in Chicago with Mr. Harmon Cooper and Mr. Luke Shimolenko. So, yeah. Thank you guys for requesting the audiobooks. And here's to the next poll request. Okay, so I'm going to screen share the cover of this book one more time. Ah! That's not it. There it is. And I usually, when I come up with a voice, the cover, if I know that the person on the cover is the main character, I usually use that as a reference for their voice. So this one right here, already my first instinct is to go with my My porno voice. Actually, this voice, um, it was inspired by Duke Nukem, and I used it for a character named Caleb Shepard in, uh, the 1000 Revolution by Pippa DaCosta, and I think it's gonna do really well with this guy. It's just dripping with masculinity and coolness. I don't have time to play with myself, right? Duke Nukem. So yeah, that's what he's getting. Stop. Here we go. Oh, wait. Danny just said he sent me the request.
No, you didn't! It's not here, Danny!
Oh, here it is. Okay, chapter 11. It's in first person. Well, let's just do this then. Here goes. Hack by Paul Bellow. Chapter 11. Can't keep a good dwarf down. Eric. I'm assuming this is Eric is the guy on the cover. Yep, I'm sorry if that's racist or whatever. I stood, wondering how to handle the situation. A dark-skinned dwarf with a bushy white mohawk barreled out of the woods. Let me see. Maybe it'll be better to read it through the Kindle version. Let's see. Wait, what? I'm very confused. Is this not the same book? Can't keep a good dwarf down. I don't see that title. Okay. Chapter 11. Is there like another section in chapter 11 called Can't Keep a Good Dwarf Down? Or is this like a completely different book that he requested from? I don't know. I'm very confused, guys, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to act like okay. Book 3 of Tower of Gates. All right. So I have been lying to you all. I've been lying to you all, and it's Danny's fault I've been lying to you all because he posted the first book. He wanted me to read from the third book, which makes total sense now. All right. So I'm just going to read from the request. Chapter 11. Can't keep a good dwarf down. Eric. I stood, wondering how to handle the situation. A dark-skinned dwarf with a bushy white mohawk barreled out of the woods. Okay. Into the shrine! He yelled. Was I just doing the country accent? I'm very confused with myself right now. Never mind. Everyone into the shrine! He whizzed past, a blur of fur and golden glitter. What the? Josh looked from the dwarf over to me, then back to the shrine. The bulky and muscular dwarf stood in the entrance, motioning for us with his left hand. Follow him, I said, then ran toward the shrine. The tree trolls shrieked and wailed. Another dozen or two dropped from the trees and ran toward us. I reached the shrine and ran inside after the others. We barely fit into the cramped space. I turned to the dwarf. What now? I asked. Give it a minute, he said. Outside the shrine, Outside the shrine, dozens of tree trolls paced back and forth in front of the opening. As the dwarf stood with his left hand holding the doorway, he turned. "Quick, let me join your party," he said. "We may need to fight our way out of this." I glanced from Sarah to Bernard. They both nodded their heads. "Everyone agreed?" I asked. "Okay, so who's Josh?"
Can he help or heal? Can he heal or help us?
Josh asked while holding the blood-soaked sack over his wounded shoulder. I don't know if that sounds like Josh, but I'm doing it the best I can. "Hurry," the dwarf said. Everyone accepted him into our group. "PC, Axelrod, the dwarven fighter, has joined your party." He smiled, then ran a hand over the top of his mohawk. "Let's get the Sword of Sands, then get out of here before they call in some magical help to flush us from the shrine," he said. "What sword?" I looked around the interior of the stone shrine. "There's nothing here." Axelrod pushed his way through to the back wall, then pressed on a stone. "Watch out!" he said. Something clicked beneath us before the stones on the ground in the middle of the shrine rearranged themselves. I stared in amazement as a tunnel opened. "Climb down," he said, smiling. "The sword and a few other bubbles are on the bottom." "We came looking for you," I said. "Get down there," Axelrod said. "I'll explain more once we're safe." Evan went down the hole first. He yelled up that it was all clear after we made it. I waited for the others to climb down before following. The wailing tree trolls faded into the background as I climbed down at least 100 feet under the forest floor. Axelrod followed me. When I reached the bottom, I glanced around at the well-hewn cavern. "Did you make this place?" I asked as Axelrod got off the ladder. "Yes," he said, smiling. "You dig it?" I nodded, still taking it in. Several tunnels led off into the darkness. Axelrod walked across the cavern to a pair of wooden bookcases. I followed, marveling at all the equipment on the shelves. He picked up a glowing sword and turned with it in his hand. "Are you willing to help me if I give this to you?" he asked. No. "Are you willing to help me if I give this to you?" he asked.
Yes, Josh said. Eric's already got a bitchin' sword.
What?
Yes, Josh said. Eric's already got a bitchin' sword.
Axelrod smiled. "Very well," he said, handing it to Josh. "I've got other stuff to help us now that we're in the group together. We'll defeat the dragon easily." As Josh accepted the sword, a notification popped up. "Side quest. Find the Sword of Sands. Complete. You get 10,000 XP divided by 8 party members. You get 1,250 XP. You have 41,634 XP. You need 9,366 XP for level 8 Rogue."
Our group's getting big,
Sarah said. We need to take on tougher mobs," Bernard said.
Yeah, his name's Bernard, so I'm just gonna make him sound like a snob. Sorry.
Axelrod nodded. "Like dragons." He smiled, then turned to the shelves of equipment. "I wasn't sure if anyone would ever come, so I've been stocking up on a little bit of everything," he added.
Can you identify this sword for me, Sarah?
Josh asked.
Yeah,
She said.
give it to me.
Ewan groaned, then said, "Can we do this quickly? I'm not feeling well." Axelrod frowned. "Don't you guys carry healing magic with you?" he asked. "We ran out," I said, "and Bernard forgot to charge his wand." Axelrod snorted, then shook his head. "Typical newbies," he said. "The three of you are the new players, right?" I kept eye contact with him. "Yeah," I said, "and we're the ones getting out of this game." The dwarf laughed again, then ran a hand through his white mohawk. "We've got to defeat this black dragon first," he said.
I think this is still him then?
"So many people think
So many people think they're getting out of here, but we're stuck. Time to make the best of it. With the loot I've carefully prepared while waiting for you three to show up, we'll make quick work of the Black Dragon and free all of the dwarves. Once the dragon is defeated, all the dwarves will be able to repopulate the first few levels. The game will change when that happens. I guarantee it.
How long have you been in this game?
Sarah asked. Too long, Axelrod said. Time's gotten away from me.
I know what you mean, Bernard said. Axelrod nodded, then continued speaking.
When Magi
in
Yonto decided to erase dwarves from the game completely as a joke, I took it to heart. Ever since then, I've been trying to stop him.
Just humans would make this game worse, Sarah said. It takes all kinds. Okay, Evan? Like brownies, Evan said. We spice it up in here. I smiled. Sheldon, okay, Do you remember how you got into the game? Sheldon asked.
Prison,
Axelrod said, like most of the other players. Not me, Sheldon said. I'm one of the developers of the game.
Do you know how to get out?
Axelrod asked. Our wizard and former attorney shook his head. No, Sheldon said. Not yet, anyway. We need to get back to the ranger station and heal everyone, I said. Sarah nodded.
Finally,
Josh grumbled.
Not until we pack up all this loot, Axelrod said. It'll help us on the way.
I turned to the bookshelves, wondering how we'd carry it all.
Don't worry, Axelrod said. I've got a sack of stuff to carry it all. We need to load it, though. Anyone want to help?
Oh, pick me! Oh, me, pick me! Evan said while jumping up and down.
Fine with me,
Axelrod said. Josh turned to Sarah. Can you give me the stats on the sword now, please? He asked. She nodded with a smile. After waving her hands while still holding the sword, she took a deep breath, then said, Wow, this is powerful. Evan grabbed a brown wooden box off a shelf. Axelrod glanced over from where he was showing Evan how to properly pack the sack of stuff.
Thanks, the dwarf said. Took me forever to craft it up on level 1-8. Took me forever to craft it up on level 1-8. Took me forever to oh, son of a bitch. Took me forever to craft it up on level 1-8.
What's on level 1-8? I asked. Everyone turned to the dwarf.
The main dwarven kingdom, he said. My home inside the game. I've been down here waiting for someone to help me kill this black dragon.
Killing a dragon sounds fun, Josh said as he took the sword from Sarah.
It won't be easy, Axelrod sighed. We'll need all the help we can get.
Whoa, Evan said, holding a glass globe. Be careful, bozo! Is that what Ewan sounded like? I don't remember. Be careful, bozo! Ewan yelled, then rushed over. He toppled into his companion, sending the globe flying. Axelrod lunged for it, but he was too slow. It fell to the floor of the cave and shattered. Glass sprayed the area, some of it hitting Sheldon. White Wizard is about to die. Oh, White Wizard is about to die, he said. You have any healing, Axelrod? Okay, wait, I'm confused. White Wizard is a... Okay, so I guess he's saying... I thought he was threatening Axelrod. But no. I guess he's the White Wizard, and he's telling everybody he's about to die? Okay. White Wizard is about to die, he said. You have any healing, Axelrod? I asked.
If these two bumbling brownies didn't break it first,
Axelrod grumbled. Sorry, Evan said, smiling and blinking his eyes. Excuse me. Axelrod pulled a set of antlers off a shelf.
It's only got 4 charges left, he said, but that's enough to heal everyone up before we get going.
About time, Josh said. You don't have to poke us with those, do you?
Don't be a baby, Axelrod said. That's elf talk.
Josh pulled the sack off his wound.
Gross,
Sarah said, then turned her head away. Axelrod walked over to Josh and touched the tip of an antler to his wound. The spot glowed blue for a second before it magically healed. Josh smiled, nodding his head. That's what I'm talking about, he said. While the dwarf healed Ewan and Sheldon, I turned to Sarah. Josh's new sword? I asked. Just curious.
It's +5 to damage with a +25% chance to hit, she said. When you get a critical strike, you slow your opponent for 1 to 20 minutes.
Not bad, I said. I didn't have the heart to tell Josh that the fast sword the 4 wizards had given me was much more powerful. He walked over to Sarah, who handed him the sword. She gave me a knowing look as Josh examined his shiny new instrument of death, but she said nothing. I put my hand on the hilt of the powerful fast sword. We didn't know a lot about the 4 wizards, but they seemed harmless enough for high-level characters. Should I stop using their evil magic weapon?
Time to go, Axelrod said. I've got everything we'll need in the sack of stuff.
Can I carry it? Evan begged. Please?
Leave him alone, Sarah said. Don't be a whiner.
Oh, man, Evan said. I turned to Axelrod and said, Lead the way. We marched toward one of the tunnels leading out of the carefully carved cavern under the forest. I noticed strange glowing algae everywhere as I followed. After what seemed like an impossibly short amount of time, Axelrod stopped next to a rope ladder leading up. He smiled as if loving our surprised reaction. We're here already? I asked. The dwarf nodded.
Magic, he said. We'll heal up and leave for Westwood in the morning. We'll heal up and leave for Westwood in the morning.
Sounds like a plan, I said. Maybe you should lead our party. I second it, Josh said before I could laugh and play it off. Wait, I didn't mean...
Good idea,
Bernard added.
I vote yes too,
Sarah said.
Great, Axelrod said. The last thing I wanted to do, lead a bunch of newbies into battle. Great, Axelrod said. The last thing I wanted to do, lead a bunch of newbies into battle. I guess it's for the best. Dwarves make excellent leaders. Dwarves make excellent leaders. Dwarves make excellent leaders. Dwarves make excellent leaders.
There we go. Brownies rule! Evan shouted, then stabbed the air.
It's settled,
Sarah said.
We have a new leader.
Our first mission is to kill the black dragon and free the rest of the dwarves, Axelrod said. You can decide what you want to do after we finish.
What do you mean? I asked.
Don't worry about it, the dwarf said and looked up. Who's first? The rope is magic. Don't worry about it breaking.
Hold on, Bernard said. What about the other magic items? Axelrod cocked his head to the left.
What about them?
Bernard said. Can we have them now? Just in case? Axelrod sighed.
Sure, he said, then set the sack of stuff down.
Everyone crowded around as he opened his bag of treats.
I've been planning this big move for a while, he said. I didn't know who would show up, so I've been stocking items for any normal adventuring party.
Did you craft all the items?
Sarah asked. Axelrod reached deep into the interdimensional bag.
Not all of them, he said. Only the cool ones.
He glanced up and winked at Sarah.
Aren't you a warrior?
Nope. Aren't you a warrior? I asked.
You don't know about multi-classing yet?
Axelrod shook his head.
They're getting sloppy letting people into the game.
We snuck in, Josh said. Axelrod stopped rummaging around.
What do you mean?
He asked. It's a long story, I said. My father helped develop the game. We snuck in to test it out and play around for a few minutes. I had no idea Tower of Gates is a prison.
Wow.
Axelrod exhaled slowly.
That's a lot to take in.
Is that a mace? Bernard asked. The dwarf smiled as he pulled out a shiny new mace made from black metal.
Yes, he said. It's made of mithril, the hardest known substance in the game. At least for now. The players on level 1-9 are always creating new stuff.
He handed the mace to Bernard. Is it magic? Bernard held it up. Feels light.
Not magic, but it's better than that piece of crap you had,
Axelrod said.
No offense.
Bernard smiled. None taken, he said.
What else?
Sarah asked.
Anything for me?
The elven wizard, Axelrod said. Hold on a minute.
After digging in the sack, he pulled out a thick oak staff.
My Staff of the Caverns will give you an additional 10 mana for each of your character levels.
Axelrod smiled.
It's stackable too.
Nice,
Sarah said as she took it.
This will come in handy.
We've got a black dragon to kill,
Axelrod said.
Can I have something?
Evan asked.
Sorry, little one,
Axelrod said.
Yes, he's tiny. I gave him a small voice.
No daggers.
Oh, man,
Evan said, then swiped his fist through the air.
Will all this be enough to kill a dragon?
Josh asked. I looked from the half-orc to the dwarf.
The dragon's tough, but we've got a fighting chance. The dragon's tough, but we've got a fighting chance,
Axelrod said.
That still didn't sound right.
We need to have a plan. I've only fought one dragon before, and that was a while ago.
Any other healing magic items? I asked.
This and that,
Axelrod said.
We should get going.
I'm first,
Evan yelled, then dashed toward the rope ladder. He scrambled up, followed closely by Ewan, who complained all the way. The rest of us climbed, one at a time, until we all stood above ground.
How did we get back to the edge of the forest so soon?
Evan asked. Axelrod smiled and winked again.
Magic, little one. Dwarven magic. The best kind.
Dragon magic is better,
Evan said.
I'm going to kill this dragon. We haven't found it yet,
Sarah said.
I found it!
Evan shouted as he pointed up. He ran out of the woods and across the grass.
Wait!
Sarah yelled, then chased after him.
That can't be the black dragon, Axelrod said, glancing up. Only one way to find out.
I followed the others into the field north of the ranger's station. High above, a dragon circled, blocking out the sun. Would our new magic items be enough to kill it? Or would we face certain death in battle? I took a deep breath, ready for anything. All right, so that was book 3 of Paul Bellow's, where is it? Paul Bellow's Tower of Gates series. I believe that one is called, yes, Hero. Hero is book 3. So yeah, if you enjoyed that, go check out Hack, I suppose, or, check out Paul Bellow in general. Sounds like someone's joining us. Chris Carney, I think, is starting to make some noise in there. And that was his picture in the corner, by the way. He was just kind of waiting for this to start up and get to his portion. But I want to thank Paul Bellow for requesting that. I know he requested it a while ago. And thank you guys for requesting it. And the link is in the description. Also, on to our third request by CM Carney. We have Barrow King. Where to go? Yeah, Barrow King. That's right. Barrow King. And I know I saw that. I know I saw it. Where did it go? And CM Carney is here with us. Say hi to everybody.
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you, man?
Good. On vacation in California, attempting to finish the book I was supposed to finish a couple days ago, but...
Oops. How dare you, sir?
I know.
Slacker.
I know. Stupid plot holes popping up and having to fix them, and joy.
Well, plus I know what it's like in California. There ain't no way to get work done out there.
No.
It's just too nice.
It's scheduled time, but yeah, that's maybe about a third of what I've supposed to have been done has gotten done.
All right, so let's see. I know I saw it before, and for whatever reason, it's not showing up now. There it is, Barrow King. There it is. Okay, cool. All right. So, do you want to tell us about your book?
It's kind of a more, in my opinion, than a lot of the LitRPG I've read. It's more of a epic fantasy one. I'd say it's almost portal fantasy with game mechanics, because there is a MMR or RPG that you use to get into the realms, but then he discovers the realms are actually a real place, and that the big bad guy essentially used the game to bring an army of basically beta players to conquer the realms, and then kicked everybody out of the game. But for some reason, the main character got stuck in the game. So he doesn't know anything about it. He basically is going into it to. His sister was one of the developers of the game. She's stuck in there with this evil high god, and he's basically going in to get her, but doesn't know the damn thing about games. Never played one in his life. So he's essentially a noob, but in the real world, he was Army and then got dragged into a special forces kind of secret group that turns out to be related to this whole thing down the road. But if it stays as planned, it'll be a 12-book series, but we'll see.
12 books. So how big is each book?
The Barrow King is like 530, I think the last count. I did do an edit and put it up. And the print one is different than the Kindle estimated page reads one, so I don't know which one's technically accurate. It's like 530 or 603. This next one, which I'm hoping to drop by the end of the month, should be a little bit longer. It's Barrow King's about 100,000 words. The new one will be about 130, I think. Yeah. Somewhere in the 550 page range, depending on.
So times 12.
Yeah.
That's pretty. What's the word? Ambitious.
Seemed like a good idea at the time. We'll see if I agree with that, and 10 more books after this one.
Now, is this your first book? Barrow
Yes,
King?
I did put a short story up that's nothing related to this on Amazon last fall.
Okay.
But I do have another. I had originally started writing the book Killing Time, which is what I'm calling 1.5 as a reader giveaway, maybe about 10,000 words, and somehow became 45,000 words. So I decided to make it 1.5 instead. So I just let that story take me where it was going.
Cool.
There's 2 in the realms, but the second one is sort of this tale of a character from Barrow King who just disappears, but will come back in the series in a couple books. So.
All right, excellent. So here's a picture. I really like your cover, by the way.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's fun.
Yeah,
it almost looks like the skull is the cornerstone, or what do they call it? The keystone of the arch.
Yeah, I'd originally had Lou Harper attempting to do more of a traditional one, but all she could find for stock photos of a guy with a spear looked like Fabio, and I just didn't think it worked. So I kind of went completely off the rails in a different direction, and I think it's pretty decent branding. She's done 5 covers for me, so
cool.
But I at least have to write that many.
Yeah, at least you got to get your money's worth there. So we're gonna get started. Okay, you sent me 2 PDFs. One of them you said was more comedic, and one of them was more of an action one. I like comedy, to be honest. I think comedy probably works best in this format. But so how many words is each one?
It was a while ago when I sent it. I think. See if I can find.
This one looks rather long. They might both be around 3,000. So
I think it was around 3,000. I don't remember who I dealt with from your group originally, and he said 2,000 to 3,000. So he's like, "We'll give you more if you want it." I would agree that I'd say go with the comedic one, but I think they're both probably close to 3. But obviously read what you want to read.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go through these character descriptions here. We got Finn/Griff. Is this something that I should not spoil?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was one of those things originally I was planning on hiding, but it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Finn.
It's in the description of the book, so you already know it.
Oh, okay. Finn becomes Griff once he enters the realms.
Correct.
Is an off-the-grid ex-special forces secret agent type with a complicated family history. He is estranged from his sister, who he must save by entering the realms. I conceived of him as a John Wick / Jason Bourne type who is trying to escape from the life he once lived, but he gets dragged back into it when he enters the realms. I imagine his voice to be calm and even, with the occasional surge of anger when he's annoyed. He's American, but has no overt accent. Okay, let's see. You know who I'm hearing in my head right now? Just the first thing that came to my head was the guy from the first Terminator. What's his name? You're
talking. He was in the Millennium show, the X-Files guy show. I think I know what you're talking about.
It's kind of whispery, but still
intense. Yeah, it's
right?
Give me a second. I'll look it up on IMDb. Assuming I know how to spell.
I feel like a dummy because I was just I can't remember his name from the movie. He was Hicks in Aliens as well.
Yeah.
You're
not talking Lance Henriksen, are you?
No.
No. I'll look it up. Alien. Oh wait, I know what you're talking about. It's what's his name?
I'll find it. Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn, yep.
Michael Biehn.
Whatever the hell it is.
Yep. Okay. How do you like that character?
I think that kind of works, yeah.
All right. So Lex. Lex is a banner. A banner is basically a super Siri from the mid-2050s. It is a semi-autonomous artificial intelligence that shares Finn's mind. When he enters the realms, the banner gets transformed into his NPC. Lex is quite different from most other boring banners. The reason why will become a very important plot point later in the series. Suffice it to say that he is a snarky dickhead who is the exact opposite from Finn / Griff. He has the mentality of a mid-20s movie buff who refuses to grow up. He speaks in colloquialisms and uses lots of slang. He can get pouty when Finn isn't nice to him. I kind of think of him as a goofier, less cynical George Costanza type kind of guy, and when he gains a body, he is indignant that it is short. Okay. I'll just kind of go with a George Costanza type of delivery. All right. Zekoth? How do you?
Yeah, that's just some stupid god name I made up.
Yeah, okay. The god of knowledge is a pompous ass with no sense of humor and a voice that would make Jeremy Irons seem common and undignified. Okay. All right. That one I can do that. Hilaricon? She is the goddess of the forge and a sexy, sarcastic vixen who loves to get a rise out of people. She's a fiery redhead and gets amusement from others' discomfort. In my brain, she is Jessica Chastain mixed with Emma Stone. Okay, I don't know who Jessica Chastain is. Let's do some research here, guys.
Going blank on what she's been in.
Okay, I've seen her before. I always thought she was a hottie. Let's see here. Switch this over here just so that there's a little visual for everybody else. Oh, I muted it.
Who starred in Zero Dark 30, The Help, and Molly's Game. Her new film is Woman Walks Ahead.
This is one of the most exquisite pieces of work I've ever seen.
And why does it make you sad?
Turn it into something beautiful.
Apparently, Zero Dark 30 was one of her movies too.
Against its insignificance.
So live more.
Compelling.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I want to do.
Please welcome Jessica Chastain.
All right, yay.
Well, it's a change. You know, it's a change, like moving jobs or moving houses. You've moved into a whole new persona. Now the two of you are one. That can be kind of stressful.
Or the two of us are partners and two.
Okay.
Okay. I think I got it. Mixed with Emma Stone, and Emma Stone's got kind of like she's got like a little bit of a higher pitch, right, than her, I think.
Yeah, I think more her delivery tends to be a little snarky. I think that was maybe
Right. Okay.
where I was thinking of that.
All right. So here goes. Those are our characters. And just to remind you all, this is Barrow King by C.M. Carney?
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. Carney. All right. Finn felt a slight pressure as he passed through the slice in reality, and then hard-packed earth lay beneath his sandaled feet. He looked himself up and down and realized he wore the dingiest of rags, a beggar at the whim of a god. Finn smiled at that classic bit of psychological warfare. Bichard, or Alarin, as he now called himself, knew how to play the game. So did Finn, and Alarin did not understand who he was, nor what he could do. A fireplace warmed the room. It reminded Finn of the cozy inn he'd spent time in on the southern coast of Ireland during a pre-college trip to Europe. The fire crackling away in the hearth felt real and chased the chill from Finn's bones. A fragment of flame leapt forward and hung in midair, spinning. It spun and condensed into a singularity. His singularity. It pulsed and flexed, tearing dimensions. Finn stared at the vortex of unknowable potential. The sphere flickered and calmed and expanded into a perfect glowing sphere an inch in diameter. Time was meaningless here. Finn did not know if he stood there for moments or eons, when the sphere rushed at him, penetrating his chest with tingling brilliance. His mind exploded with prompts. Okay, so for these prompts, do you want me to play Lex?
Yeah, because he's essentially delivering them.
You have learned the skill Small Blades. Levels 1 through 5. Skill type, active. You have shown proficiency in wielding small blades. These include knives, daggers, short swords, and their variations. To hit bonus, plus 10%. Damage bonus, plus 10%. Stab, kill. You have learned the skill Staves/Spears. Levels 1 through 5. Skill type, active. You have shown proficiency in wielding staves and spears. These include bow staves, quarter staves, short spears, and long spears. To hit bonus, plus 10%. Damage bonus, plus 10%. Attack speed, plus 25%. Longer stab, smash, kill. You have learned the skill Unarmed. Levels 1 through 5. Skill type, active. You have shown proficiency in hand-to-hand combat. You can cause damage, disarm, and incapacitate opponents with just your hands and feet. To hit bonus, plus 10%. Damage bonus, plus 10%. Chance to disarm, 10%. Attack speed, plus 25%. You learn quickly, Grasshopper. And kill. You have learned the skill Thrown Weapons. Levels 1 through 5. Skill type, active. You have shown proficiency in thrown weapons. These throwing knives and axes, and any other thrown weapon. What? These throwing knives and axes, and any other thrown weapon. To hit bonus, plus 10%. Damage bonus, plus 10%. I see you way over there. Pew pew! Finn paused the prompts, shaking and nauseous. The amount of information that assaulted his mind was insane.
Lex, why am I getting all these skill prompts?
Well, the realms differ from the games that came before it. As the NI rig integrates your mind into the game, it also extrapolates and imports your inherent real-world skills.
That sounds like mind reading, Finn said, concerned.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
So cool. You and I have very different definitions of the word cool.
Trust me, in the game, you'll be happy you were a real-life Rambo.
What?
Great movie. You need to watch the classics, bro.
Finn shook his head at his oh-so-odd banner and returned to the prompts.
You have learned the skill Perception. Levels 1 through 5. Skill type, passive. You are able to spot traps, secret doors, passages, and hidden foes.
25% chance to detect traps, 25% chance to detect secret doors and passages, 12% chance to detect foes using sneak. Yay! No falling in spiky death pits. Huzzah! No stabs in the kidney. You have learned the skill Disarm Traps. Levels 1 through 5. Skill type Active. You are able to disarm traps. 20% chance to disarm traps, 10% chance to acquire traps, 5% chance to understand traps. For use with the crafting skill. Pick Tinker, no splodin' shrapnel in face. Quit adding commentary to the skills, Lex. I have no idea what you're talking about, his banner said with feigned annoyance. If Lex had had a physical form, Finn would have smacked him. A part of his mind, the one trained to see subterfuge and danger everywhere, wondered if he could trust Lex. Bryn had been working with their father. Could the Colonel have gotten his hands on Lex? Or worse, had engineered the delivery of the odd banner to Finn? Despite the red flags, there was nothing he could do about his suspicions at the moment. He returned his attention to the prompts. You have learned the skill Alchemy, levels 1 through 5. Skill type Active. You can mix various ingredients to form useful potions, tinctures, and poisons, plus 10% to potency, 10% chance to understand item constituency and recipe formulas. Why are some stats listed as active and some as passive? Active skills require not only focus, but stamina, usually at a point per second cost. Passive skills are always active, so do not need concentration or a stamina cost. For example, stealth. Sneak, sneak, hide, hide is an active skill, and sneaking about is more tiring than walking around all normal-like. Then there are the knowledge skills, such as perception. There's no active participation in that. You just know what you know. That's a passive skill. You just outed yourself on the skill commentary, right? Crap, Lex whispered. Finn chuckled to himself, getting an odd pleasure from ribbing Lex. Why do all the skills level out at 5? Yeah, that one blows. The designers capped any real-world skills at 5 to balance the scale somewhat. They wanted to make it so nerdy losers who smoked pot and ate Doritos all day could compete with badasses like you. And let's face it, there's a lot more of them type than love children of Jason Bourne and James Bond. Quit making stupid references, Lex. Quit making stupid movie references, Lex. Pfft. You just ain't cultured enough to appreciate my references. The skill prompts ended, and another slice in reality opened. Beyond was a grand chamber of tall windows and massive arches. Griff looked over his sheet and found his eyes landed on alignment. What does neutral good mean, Lex? Alignment is your basic moral sense and philosophy on life. There are 9 alignments across 3 tiers of 3. There are the good alignments, which means you behave nice and help strangers. The neutral alignments tend to not get involved unless pushed. The evil alignments like to F shit up just for fun. Basically, you have goody two-shoes, bland and boring slackers, and evil pricks who want your shit. Okay, Griff said, wondering if he would regret asking his next question. What about lawful, neutral, and chaotic? Lawful are those folks who live by the letter of the law. Chaotic folks are wilder and more unpredictable, and the neutral guys are, well, bland as all get out. Then why am I neutral good? Well, 'cause you're boring. It's all part of your NI-rig mind, scan Curtis. Oh, Lex, Griff said, unamused. It's all part of your NI-rig mind scan courtesy of Sacrosanct Integrative Networks. Obviously, you're a guy who tries to do the right thing, but you're not above breaking a law or two to do what's right. And you're not some kind of hippie anarchist who wants no damn rules at all. Basically, you are a nice boy moms want their daughters to bring home. Right, Griff said with a mild scowl. I need to learn not to ask you questions. Most of the rest of the information was self-explanatory. Then he noticed that his spirit score of 124 had a strike-through. He assumed that it had to do with his refusal to choose a deity. He hoped that his instinct to trust none of the gods in the realms proved correct. Otherwise, he was giving up a huge advantage.
I'm guessing I have no access to my spirit because I've refused to worship any of the gods.
Right. Since spirit is the energy of belief and you're a heathen, atheist, unbeliever, you don't get none.
Right, Griff muttered.
Zekoth stepped forward again. Griff had forgotten he was there, as much as you can forget a 7-foot bald god. This time he walked right up to Griff and before he could react, grabbed him by the head. Griff panicked until Zekoth spoke up.
It is time to awaken your magic, the god intoned.
I can go deeper.
It is time. It is time. It is time. It is time.
Maybe whiskey. We'll use the whiskey. It's a cheat, I know. Cheers.
It is time. It is time to awaken your magic, the god intoned.
Tendrils of energy wormed their way into Griff's brain. It started as one filament, but then branched and split, becoming 13 distinct strands. He saw, as much as felt, pops of light explode in the various parts of his mind. Some were large, some so small as to be mere pinpricks in a star-filled sky. There was no pain, but for reasons he could not quantify, Griff screamed. Time became still, and Griff lost all sense of place. He thought he would always be there when suddenly he was back in the odd cathedral, surrounded by hooded deities.
I know magic, Griff said.
Griff said as he struggled to keep his balance.
There are 13 spheres of magic, Zekoth intoned.
I got this, chum. No, I got this, chum, Lex said. Then added under his breath, you're likely to bore the dude to death. He continued with his normal snark-filled tone. So old Baldy here is right, if dull. Magic is the ability to rewrite the underlying code of the realms. It manifests itself in 13 spheres. Each sphere represents one of the primal building blocks of reality. Now, long ago in the primal blah 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 of creation, the spheres came to being during a massive battle between ether and thought. Life and death came into the realms for the first time. These 4 spheres became known as the 4 primal magics.
Okay, that sounds logical.
Next came the 4 elemental spheres of fire, air, earth, and water. These are all self-explanatory. Fire mages will blast enemies with fireballs. Kaboom, kersh, burn, burn. Oh no, I'm scarred for life. No maiden will want to bed me again. The children will run in fear.
Lex, just the facts,
Griff said, and he saw what may have been the hint of a smile cross Zekoth's face. Jeez, tough crowd, Lex whined. Anyway, air guys can make shields, knock people on their asses with big gusts of wind, and hurl bolts of lightning. So zap, singe, singe, oh no, where'd my eyebrows go? Earth folks are usually stodgy grumps who talk way too slow. Water wizards. I'm going too fast. I don't even understand what I'm reading here. Earth folks are usually talk way too slow. Earth folks are usually stodgy grumps who talk way too slow. Water wizards. He paused for effect. Griff refused. Well, they can breathe underwater, create ice, and control water. They're essentially first picks if you ever get into a snowball fight. Griff sighed and almost asked Zekoth if he could get a new banner. Spending 24/7 with a flesh-and-blood Lex sounded an unbearable future. Yo, pay attention, Lex muttered in annoyance. This is some good shit! Griff rolled his eyes and made the get on with it hand motion. Fine. Jeez. I hope everyone else in the game ain't as grumpy as you. Anyway, then we have the so-called higher magics. These spheres are Empyrean, beloved of people who believed... These spheres are Empyrean, beloved of people who believe in angels and celestial trees and crystals and junk. The Chthonics, now they're more fun in my book. Demon summoners who love wearing dark robes and talking in funny voices they think are intimidating. Life and death magic are self-explanatory. Healers and killers. Lex stopped his rambling while Griff found the silence welcome. Oh, Lex stopped his rambling, and while Griff found the silence welcome, he had only counted 12 spheres of magic. And the 13? The 13th? Soul magic. Can't say I know nothing about that one. Affinity for that one is ultra rare. Affinity? Everyone in the realms has an affinity and an antipathy for a sphere of magic. If you have 100% affinity in life magic, for example, not only will you be some kind of boring do-gooder, but you'll also have a 100% antipathy for death magic. It's an oil and water kind of thing. Griff nodded. Despite his childish methods, Lex was a fountain of information. He supposed he was lucky to have the annoying Banner with him. So, when Chuckles here laid hands on you, he opened your affinity and your antipathy. Open your skill sheet, and you'll see what's what. Okay, you're a bit slow, but I can work with that. Anyway, guess we should get to it. I bet you're excited to meet your Banner NPC in the flesh. I'd say anxious, Griff said. Oh, he's one of them types. I get it. Well, good luck, honey, because once your new buddy is forged, there ain't no refund. Great, Griff muttered, and turned with Hilaricon towards a large set of gilded doors. Who's Hilaricon again?
Fire goddess chick. Or the,
Oh, okay.
the goddess of the forge, sorry.
That's right.
Drum roll, please.
Hilaricon said in a loud announcer voice, and the sound of deep bass drums pounded from nowhere and everywhere.
Lexicon, Banner NPC of Griff of the Tasty Glutes. Come on down!
Griff sent a sideways glance at the fiery goddess, but a loud clang of metal on metal brought his attention back to the huge double doors. A red light split them in two, and the massive doors opened. Illuminated from behind was a powerful figure of muscle and brawn. Shadows masked Lex's features, but the NPC strode forward with a purpose. The new Lex seemed impressive. He was a broad-shouldered man dressed in flowing robes and carrying a large metal hammer. A flowing beard swung side to side as he approached. As the space between them diminished, Griff realized that the distance had not been as large as it first seemed. As Lex got close, he could see his NPC's swagger diminish. Lex strode up with a scowl and smashed his hammer on the floor of the forge. His head barely came up to Griff's chest.
You have got to be frickin' kidding me, Lex said with a growl. What the hell is this?
Griff shrugged and tried to keep the grin from his face.
Hey, short stuff,
Hilaricon said.
How's the weather down there?
Lex raised his hammer, ready to crush her pretty red skull. Griff stepped in and put a hand on Lex's shoulder. He had to lean down a bit uncomfortably to reach. Lex noticed. Buddy? Wouldn't do that. Goddess, Griff said in the soothing tone one uses on a drunk friend. Lex relaxed, lowering his hammer. The muttering continued. So, you look good. What are you? A hill dwarf? I'm an effin' Ordanian. Wait, aren't those the Viking dudes? Tallest race on Corin?
Yes!
Lex howled in a rage.
Well, that's an average,
Hilaricon said.
You may be on the lower end, height-wise.
Lower.
I'm only 5'4", Hilaricon!
Lex raged.
I'd say more like 5'3 3/4.
Lex glared up at Hilaricon, his face as red as her hair.
Hey, Love Muffin, don't blame me. I just build stuff. I'm not responsible for whatever this is.
Lex bellowed in rage and hefted his hammer over his head. He swung it down several times, smashing a crate of coal, a barrel of water, and a table covered in metal ingots. Griff sent a nervous glance at Hilaricon, but she seemed more amused than annoyed.
I see you like the hammer, though, she said. I did make that for you.
Lex eyed her for a moment before turning his gaze on the hammer. Yeah, it's pretty good. Griff walked up and put his arm around his NPC's shoulder. The sad look in Lex's eyes was hard to take. Lex had been his constant companion for over a year, and for the first time, Griff thought of him as human, with actual feelings. He made a promise to himself to treat the little guy with more respect.
"Wanna go get drunk?" Lex said. May have to rethink that respect thing, Griff thought. Let's have a look at you, Griff said. Lex's eyes blinked as he turned his gaze inwards, analyzing his character sheet. Lex grunted in a tone that didn't sound thrilled. What is it? It looks like I'm some kind of priest. My main affinity is for thought magic, and I worship some dude named Sarunian. Whoever that is.
He's dead, Hilaricon said, as if it were nothing. She sliced a piece of a golden apple with a sharp knife and then eased it past her full lips.
Dead?
Lex.
Dead?
Lex squealed in alarm. Yeah, dead.
What do you mean dead? Griff asked.
As in dead. Hilaricon twitched her neck to the side, closed her eyes, and pulled up on an imaginary noose that made her tongue loll out of her mouth. No longer of this world. Pushing up the daisies. Gone to meet his maker.
How can I worship a dead god?
Hilaricon shrugged. Got me. Never met one.
Great. So I'm a midget priest of a dead god.
Technically, a midget is 4'10" or less, and I do believe that term has fallen out of favor, Hilaricon said, slipping another slice of apple into her mouth with a crunch.
Lex glared and hefted his hammer again. Let's not get caught up in semantics, Griff said. Is there a way we can fix him? Fix me! Lex raged. There's nothing wrong with me!
Griff wasn't about to get into that debate and looked at Hilaricon, repeating the question. Nope. I told you. No returns, no exchanges.
Okay, buddy, Griff said, stooping down to get eye level with Lex. There's gotta be a reason for all this.
Always is, Hilaricon said. The source always has its reasons.
Griff didn't know what to make of that and kept his attention on Lex. You and me against the realms, right, buddy? Griff held out his hand, and after a moment, Lex grumbled and took it. Griff's massive hand swallowed up Lex's. This isn't helping, Lex said. Nor is the kneeling thing you got going on. Sorry, Griff said, standing back at his full height. Or maybe it was, Griff muttered.
All right, and that's it for that request.
Thanks, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, and thank you for requesting it. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
Of course.
Yeah, if you guys liked that little sample, go check it out. It's in the link as all the requests for today is in the description below the video. Thank you to everybody who requested bits and pieces. I think Danny is gonna put up another poll here pretty soon. Thanks to everybody who requested free audiobooks. I will get to that as soon as I'm done with this stream. And if you guys like this show, if you've never been before, or even if you have but you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Please subscribe to the Sound Booth Theater Live YouTube channel. Not only do I do this every couple of weeks, but there's always something else that happens during the week. I think actually Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I haven't discussed it with Annie yet. We're gonna be doing one more Sound Booth Theater Live exclusively for War Eternus 3. Because last week she was supposed to come, but then we just scheduled it stupid. And yeah, I mean, like I didn't realize this, but all the new characters in War Eternus 3 are female, and so Annie's gonna have those roles. And so basically, last week's Sound Booth Theater Live was just drinking with Charles and me fucking around reading female parts that I'm not even gonna do for the book. So this week Annie's gonna be here, and she'll be doing all of those new characters and actually figuring them out, how they're actually going to sound in the audiobook. But we always do special stuff for each book that we're going to produce. We're going to try and do more creative stuff with the YouTube channel as much as we can. So yeah, go subscribe to our channel. Also subscribe to Charles Dean's YouTube channel tonight, I think at 8 p.m. Central. Or wait, is it 7 p.m. Central? I can't remember. Let's see. I have to go to his page. He never announces. Here we go. Okay, Drunken Dice. Oh, god damn it. Come on now. Waiting for Charles Dean? What do you mean? Is it already going? Charles, I don't know what time this is supposed to start, guys. Okay, go to Charles Dean's YouTube channel, subscribe, and it'll show up. Click the bell. Make sure to click the bell so that you get notifications. But subscribe to his channel. Later tonight, we're going to be playing. I think it's actually going to be D&D since Blaze isn't going to be able to join us for the next couple episodes. We're going to just start a 5th edition D&D campaign and drink to that instead. So yeah, come join us later tonight. And yeah, if you really like this show, go to our Sound Booth Theater Live Facebook group and join us there. We now have 546 members, which is actually just a little bit more than the subscribers we have on the YouTube channel. But there you can see us bullshit, and you can vote on the poll. You can request for the poll. If you're an author, bring your fans over here and request something and have them vote so that you can see yourself on the show. And I think that's about it for today. So thank you guys again so much for coming and hanging out with us. And I will see you later tonight if you're going to be on the Charles Dean stream. Peace.